What is up, pioneers? So today I'm talking to you guys about a sensitive topic, which is virginity and sex. We're going to dabble into that a little bit. So I'm a virgin. I wear a purity ring. Ding. Cue the ding. And I wanted to share with you guys my journey as far as being a virgin, how I got to my purity ring, and everything like that. So it all started when I was born. I like to be over dramatic. Also, just a disclaimer, I might laugh at times where I feel uncomfortable, or I might be laughing at myself. You can kind of determine that by the look on my face, depending. Just wanted you to know. Because virginity is hard to talk about. It can be a little uncomfortable because people always want to be up in your sex business, you know? But also, especially in the Christian church, sex is such a taboo subject. We don't really talk about it all that often. And I appreciate Mike Todd because he definitely talks about it. And I like that. We don't get to talk about it that often. So I would like to record to show that I did not start off wanting to save sex until marriage and wanting a purity ring. I was under the full impression that I was going to lose my virginity at the age of 14 to a boy at prom who liked me in elementary school. That's not how that panned out in any shape, form, or fashion, because as soon as I got to high school and started dibbling and dabbling in just liking boys, interacting with boys and stuff like that, I got moved from Arkansas to Georgia. So in Arkansas, you know, as a kid, I grew up being like, oh, sex is gross. And then like once I hit high school, I was like, ooh, hold on, this might be a little interesting. What's going on? But I also had heard songs like Life Jennings' SEX where I was just like, oh, think before you let it go. Don't just be, you know, having sex with anybody unless you want to do that. And I didn't. I wanted to have sex with somebody who I cared about and loved because I didn't want someone to just have sex with me and then like be like, peace. That felt like disrespectful. So I was just like, I'm not going to disrespect myself or let nobody else disrespect me and do that. I'm going to save myself until I love somebody. So while this boy, I didn't necessarily not love him, but I was flattered that he carried a torch for me all those years. So I was like, why not? Prom, perfect time. People lose their virginities at prom all the time. This is totally okay. And then again, I moved. And then that switch flipped back from, oh, sex to, nah, sex is gross. I don't want to do this. Nah. I don't know what it was about Georgia, but I was just like, I had like trust issues then. So like people getting close to me was even more difficult than originally. And I was just like, I don't know if I can trust y'all boys down here because I don't know what y'all about. You know, I don't know if y'all just trying to have sex with me just to have sex with me. And I ain't about that life. So I had some crushes. I had a little boyfriend in high school. But sex was still kind of gross to me. I was still trying to find somebody to love, yada, yada, yada. So in high school, it was really hard. I think like in middle school, people expected the whole like virginity thing. But in high school is when the numbers, the C's split and you could see the majority and the minority, and virginity definitely felt like the minority. It was really hard making the decision to not have sex with people because I was offered it a lot, which was really weird, especially for high school. I'm just like, why are y'all doing this? Like, do y'all know what y'all doing with your bodies? Okay, cool. And it also felt very isolating and I felt very alone until I found my little colony of virgins, me and my two best friends at the time. We were all virgins kicking in and I'm like, I found my place. I found my people, somebody who gets it. And then one of my friends lost her virginity. And then I was like, I'm alone again. Even though I had that other friend, I still, for some reason in my mind, was just like, now I'm back to fighting this battle out here in the trenches by myself, out here being tempted, having offers thrown at me, and just having to be like, nah, I'm good. Because I feel like all you want to do is have sex with me. You don't want to know me from me. What about me? No? Okay. So that went on, and I felt like in high school, because I was a virgin, I had to overcompensate and honestly too sometimes kind of hide it. So I would say comments like, that's what she said, and like, you know, just stuff to kind of make it seem like, yes, I'm innocent, but I'm not like mentally innocent. Like I know what sex is, I know what I want, I know what I'm doing. Just because I haven't done it doesn't mean I can't still throw it back, you know what I'm saying? And I had read a bunch of romance books. I started at 14, terrible decision. So I was really just like, oh, I like this, I don't like this, mark this page, this is what I want to happen. So I felt like I had a good knowledge of like sex, which, just to be clear, romance novels do not actually teach you about sex. They just romanticize sex. Makes sense. Got it. Cool. But I was like, I know what I want to know, what I don't want. So let me just, share that so people don't seem like, treat me like I'm just a purity princess, an ice princess, like I'm just Little Miss Innocent, which I had also had people kind of like tease me and poke fun at me for, and I did not like that feeling. Like I did not like feeling so other than other people, like being like, ooh. Not only was I weird, I was also a weird virgin. That was hard. Stupid. So that was a piece of my identity that was difficult navigating in high school. So by the time we got to college, I was kind of over it, and I was just like, I don't want this anymore. I don't want this title. I don't want this label. I'm just gonna have sex with a dude 3 days in. I don't know why. I guess so. I like the number 3 because Jesus rose in 3 days. And it could have been 3 weeks or 3 months, but for some reason I was like 3 days. So I ended up meeting a guy, actually day 1, I want to say. He came to my room, we ended up talking. And again, because I thought sex was gross, I was like, I don't actually want to do this. And he was just like, you're going to have sex eventually. And I was like, no, this is gross. No, thank you. After that encounter, I ended up bumping or crossing paths with these people who were part of the Baptist Collegiate Ministries, or BCM. So I hung out with them a few times, and they were virgins galore in the organization, people having godly relationships, and I had not seen anything like that in my life. So that was when I first took up my ring, and I was like, I'm going to save myself until marriage because I see this, I want a godly relationship. Had never seen that, been shown that in life before. So I was like, if this is the way to get there, okay, sign me up. Took my little vow, got me a little ring. I want to say it said, delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. That's a song. I just don't know which one. I want to say 134:7. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. So I was like, wearing my little purity ring, living my little best life. I'm going to wait until marriage. And then I got a boyfriend. I told him I was waiting until marriage, and he 100% respected that. And that was honestly weird. Not to say that I had encountered the opposite by that point, but I was just like, you respect me? Like, what? And so I was very much attracted to him, and I had never experienced attraction like this with anybody else. So needless to say, I wanted to have sex with him like a lot. I tried him a lot. He didn't try me. I mean, he tried me a little bit, but like not, because he respected me. So he'd be like, no, like we're not. He kept the boundaries for the both of us, because I clearly was not. I was being a little temptress. I admit that. I was horny. I wanted sex, okay? Even though I taken my vow, I wanted to have sex with him. He was a handsome dude. Like, come on. I was only human. But I also knew my vow. And again, I still thought sex was gross, so it could only get so far. It was so weird and stupid. Anywho, so I felt like God was telling me I needed to break up with him. So we broke up. I was absolutely heartbroken because I thought I was going to marry that man. I thought that was like my future husband. Like we were it. Honestly, that's the reason I kissed him. I was like, I'm not going to kiss anybody until they're my husband. And I kissed him because I was like, this is my husband. This is it. And then God was like, sorry, sis, it's not. So trust issues, again, reignited, re-triggered. And I'm just like, I don't, and then what do you mean? So I continued on with my little vow. But then I started, so because he was not like heavy in the church, didn't read his Bible, didn't pray, so he believed in God, but that was it. I kept ping-ponging back and forth between guys that were the opposite of him and then guys that were like him. Because I guess there was something about him that I liked and wanted in a partner. It just wasn't, him. So I kept looking for that. And in that process, I felt unwanted, honestly, truthfully. After him, I felt like because I was a virgin, because of my status, it was either like ooh, I'm trying to get you to lose your virginity, or you a virgin, I don't do that. Nah. And I'm just like, but, and this is college too. So everybody out here is, well, for the most part, is having sex. So yet again, I'm the little duckling with my little promise ring, and I had stopped going to the BCM because it felt like it was actually hindering my relationship to God, and I felt really bad about myself. And so I no longer have my little colony of virgins, and I was just out here by my lonesome, just like I want to have sex, but I don't want to have sex. And that conflict is what kind of caused me to compromise on those morals a bit. And so the compromise, y'all, just steadily increased as I got older, because again, I was overcompensating. I felt like because I was a virgin, I had to prove myself. I had to, give other people reins, because I made the choice to save myself into marriage and you didn't. And so I honestly felt guilty too for, like, I guess, what's the word? For putting myself on display, but not allowing you to sample the platter, so to speak. I felt guilty about that, because I'm like, I mean, shoot, I'm fine. Like, I get it. Like, I want to have sex with me too. Yikes. So I was like, I feel guilty because, I mean, you have to be around me, kiss me, hug me, my skin soft. Like, I understand. I would want to have sex with me too. And I felt guilty, which caused me to compromise even further. So the first compromise was more of like let's sleep in the same bed, let's touch each other a little bit. And then that escalated to hand jobs, which then escalated to oral sex, which then I was just like, okay, no. Okay, that's the line, that's the flag. I gotta get some respect for myself somewhere, because I didn't want to take it that far. I wanted all of those things, all of those first, to be with my husband. So I strayed super far. And part of that did have to do with me going through a period after I graduated college where I was just like, I'm gonna be spiritual. And I took my ring off and I was like, I mean, whatever happens, happens. Nothing happened, but like, come on, sis, really? This is what we're doing? We just out here in the streets? I was out there in the streets. I was ready, but I really wasn't. And also through that process, it's important to note that I had to get out of the mindset that sex was gross to protect myself. You should never get in that mindset, because it's really hard to get out of. And I had read an article about a woman who was so deep in her virginity that was her identity. And when she had sex, she was completely lost. And also, it was not enjoyable or pleasurable, because she had spent so long being like, ew, sex is gross. And I was like, okay, nah, that's one thing I do know after all them books I done read is your girl trying to have some fun in the bedroom. So I'm just like, no. So I had to like restructure my mind to not think that sex was gross, but just to be like, sex is enjoyable. God made sex for the covenant of marriage. But until you get married, this is not something that you can engage in or participate in. And that's okay. Virginity is hard, not gonna lie. Sometimes I regret my decision, especially when I get a strong attraction to a man. I'm like, maybe. But I put this ring back on, I rededicated myself, and I'm serious about actually waiting until marriage. So within that also means boundaries. Boundaries are so important when it comes to virginity, because you can very easily be like me, where I did not have any boundaries, and then I ended up compromising my morals to points that I never wanted to compromise them. Which again, like, God gives me grace, and God forgives you if that's what you did. Like, if you had sex, you didn't want to or anything like that, like, God forgives you. It's okay, He gives you that grace. But just also know that there's a repentance process. You have to come back to Him, which, I did. I came back and I'm like, never again, Lord, I'm done. We're doing things your way or no way. And that's fine. And I trust and believe in Him that He's going to provide a husband for me and everything will be Gucci. But in the meantime, boundaries. So if you cannot do sleeping in a bed with somebody, don't do that. If you can't do the booty call hours, don't do that. You have to do what works best for you. And for some people, they can do that and be perfectly fine, not be tempted. Kudos to them. Wish I was like that. But I think because the way I'm set up, I have a high libido, which they don't talk about either. Like how you be a virgin and you be horny and you be wanting to have sex. That's all I'm saying. High libido. All the time. But yeah, no, keep your boundaries. Not everybody is made the same. And this is by no means propaganda to push you to be celibate or be a virgin, because it's all about you. And I think that, the Bible talks about remaining pure and things like that. But similar to other things that the Bible says is wrong, I honestly feel like it's a case-by-case basis, because God is using that to protect you. But some people are good at protecting themselves and can engage in sex, and it's totally fine. I am not one of those people. I'm easily attached. Can't do it. I'm a for real be like, so we get married tomorrow? Like, That's just who I am. And because I know I'm set up that way, I think that's what allowed me to be more hesitant when it came to engaging in sex and things like that. So let me know about you below. Are you a virgin too? Did you kind of struggle with those feelings of like, oh, I, feel like I'm alone, everybody else is having sex and I'm not? Can you testify? Can you be honest and say that you be horny? Because I just, honesty is key. Authenticity, transparency, and Christ. That's our motto. So that's all I'm saying. Please subscribe, like, and make sure you follow me on Instagram at Pioneer Faith. I will see you guys next Monday.